Ladies and gentlemen, hello! It's so good to see you. Welcome back to another episode of the famed, not yet critically acclaimed, satirical news phenomena. Headlines with Amr. Today is Friday, July 11th, 7-Eleven. Go get yourself a Slurpee. We're gonna get started with something that was in the news, if you'll allow me, a few weeks ago. That's right, I am talking to you about Jeff Bezos and his holy matrimony to Lauren Sanchez. The wedding, of course, was in Venice, and we saw all the photos about everybody who was there: Leonardo DiCaprio and Sydney Sweeney and Jessica Alba and Tom Brady and Usher and Oprah. And it was glamorous, and it was 3 days, and people were so rich that they shat flowers and ice cream sundaes out of their butts, and it was $50 million. And meanwhile, the global economy is a dumpster fire that exploits normal people by making them think that they could actually maybe have these things one day while they simultaneously run at top speed on a treadmill chasing a dollar bill and become a skeleton and die as a pile of bones. I know all that. But there was something missing in media coverage, I thought. And I thought it was very obvious. Where are your friends, Jeff and Lauren? You're in charge. You run the most impressively disgusting, evil empire since the Great Britain. The sun really never sets on Amazon. And you get married, and you decide to invite Sydney Sweeney and Tommy Hilfiger? Like Tommy Hilfiger? A brand my dad and I wore together on a daily basis throughout the entirety of the 1990s? Like, get some friends or hire some, for God's sakes. Let's move to our next headline. Guys, we really need to talk about these, we could say, hit pieces on Zohran Mamdani, paragons of morality. Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo are teaming up to call for a probe into the fact that Zohran Mamdani, oh my God, who was born and raised in Uganda, included African American as one of his ethnicities on a college application in 2009, 16 years ago, which would have him about 17 years old at the time. Like, dude, you're Andrew Cuomo. You and your dad and your brother are some of the most well-known royal assholes that New York State has ever seen. You were trusted, and did a horrible job, to navigate New York State through the COVID-19 pandemic. Like, you're a huge name, and you're spending money on a probe into Zohran Mamdani's college application in 2009. Do you not realize how long ago that was? And you're teaming up with Eric Adams, the man who compared heroin to cheese, among other things? I mean, thanks. Please keep it up. And it hasn't just stopped with his murderous, incompetent, shisty, but well-funded competitors. Yesterday, I read a story about how Zohran's SAT scores, again, very long time ago, were within the range to get into Columbia, but well below the median. Guys, please try harder. Then, of course, there was the whole he eats with his hands fiasco. A lot of people picked up on just how absurd this is, and perhaps most comically is a new website called the Mamdani Times, which in full New York Times style font and cosmetics posts headlines that also highlight Zohran's alleged shortcomings that disqualify him from marriage. Some of my favorites so far include: Zohran Mamdani uses an irresponsible number of napkins to eat pizza. Mamdani accepted iTunes conditions and terms without reading them. Zohran Mamdani accidentally replied all in the neighborhood Google group and unleashed chaos. It's a great website. Please check it out. TheMamdaniTimes.com. Here's one I came up with. Eric Adams mistakes a bidet for a water fountain, takes a big gulp before criticizing Mamdani for eating with his hands. That's it for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope everybody has an awesome weekend, and I will see you all next week. It's gonna be great. Bye-bye.